It's the Security Weekly News. It's episode 470. It's the week of April 2025. Welcome to the show. We've got brains, scams, AI scams, Microsoft dog food, deleting yourself, Josh Marpet, and more on the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Imagine a world where every threat, ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, is stopped before it can even begin. ThreatLocker makes that world a reality with a zero-trust approach to cybersecurity. By giving you granular control on every executable that can happen in your environment, ThreatLocker protects your business around the clock. No more guessing, no more gaps, just rock-solid protection that keeps your operations running smoothly and your data secure. Discover how ThreatLocker's least privilege approach can safeguard your organization against known and unknown threats. Take the first step toward total peace of mind. Visit securityweekly.com/threatlocker today. All right, I'm Doug White, and it's the Security Weekly News. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment, or I'll turn this car around, and no trip to the meat packing plant for you today. You have to pass on that. Have you ever had that dream where you're working a meat packing plant? It's your 33rd day of work, and you're going to work, and you have a performance review, and your supervisor's naked, and you're naked, and it kind of dissolves into a meat packing plant porno? No? Yeah, me neither. We can always hope. Well, okay, so this is a scam that's been going on, but and I mean, I always bring up scams on here because I do encourage you to remind your people about it as part of your security policy procedure, because I think it's obvious that we need to keep reminding people about scams because people keep falling for them, right? Well, in this case, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, has issued warnings that people are pretending to be the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is called IC3. And they're pretending to be employees, and they're offering to help fraud victims recover money lost to fraud. Now, the FBI said they have received over 100, I guess, like documented reports of this over the last 2 years, reported to IC3 or IC Cubed, I'm not sure. But the scam artists basically create various personas, but they have a female persona profile on social media networking sites. And this is kind of new and interesting. They've been joining groups for financial fraud victims and pose as victims in these online groups. They then recommend that other victim, they join up and go, yeah, I got taken too, but let me give you some suggestions. And they recommend that victims contact Jamie Quinn, who claims to be the chief director of IC Cubed. And I mean, it's really an old scam, right? I mean, it can be played all sorts of different ways, including with teams and all sorts of stuff. I heard of a team that went to support groups in person, like actual physical support groups for people that were survivors of cancer or people that had lost loved ones and just all kinds of heinous things. And they pretended to also be a victim of similar things. And then after a while, they would, one of the people would say, I just don't know what to do. I'm in financial distress. And this other person who's sitting on the other side of the room goes, you know what? I have a suggestion. You could contact this person and they can probably help you get vengeance or money or sue or whatever that, and then of course people that are in the group would go, wow, could I get in on that too? Now this one is targeting people who've already been swindled. So these are people that already lost money to financial fraud online. And look, these guys are good, right? And they target everyone. They have no mercy, no sympathy. They will absolutely go after, your grandmother who's blind. They don't care because you have to put that aside to be a con person. And they will come after your employees and your employees' loved ones, which in turn, and this is the cynical part, it does create a threat to your enterprise when people become financially in trouble because they've been swindled and they don't want to tell anybody. And so you need to continually remind people to be careful the minute someone asks you for money, information, gift cards, crypto, or anything at all of value, because that's the time you need to pull out the pepper spray in real life. But you can't do that online. But it's the time you close the browser and say, I'm out. I'm not going back in here again, because this may well be a con. But people do, especially people that are unhappy or embarrassed, they're incredibly subject to this kind of victimization. Now, in a more elaborate scam, attackers used a weakness which allowed them to send a fake email that seemed to be delivered from Google. It looked legit. It passed all the verifications, but it pointed to a fake page that collected Google logins. I mean, you can't trust anyone anymore, right? I mean, not that you ever could trust anyone and shouldn't. I mean, remember that Phoenician sailor that said he was desperate to sell that Mesopotamian land to get money to sail home, and your great, 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 great grandfather, well, maybe even a few more greats on there, said, buddy, let me help, and gave him his last 4 silver shekels for the land deed, and went, ha ha, I got that sucker. Then found out, of course, the deed was fake. The papyrus wasn't actually papyrus, all that kind of stuff. The guy may not have even been a Phoenician at all, but was rather a Sumerian fisherman named Bill, who actually lived over in Haifa. Yeah, those things are old. They've been there. But this one's clever. The message appears to come from no-dash-reply at google.com. And it passed the domain keys identified mail authentication, which would imply that it's legit. But that's not who actually sent it. The email says, it's got this scary message. It says a subpoena was received at Google from law enforcement, that the law enforcement people need access to your Google account information. This would scare a lot of people. But the hosting portal and the guy who figured this out only caught this because they knew something. The hosting portal was sites.google.com. So, all that training we do where we tell people, look at the link. Well, the link says google.com on it. But sites.google.com is a free web building platform that anyone can use. And the fake login site pops up a page that says log into Google. Yeah, so nothing new there. But how did the email get past the domain keys identified mail auth? Well, the attacker registered a domain and created a Google account for ME at that domain, whatever the fake domain was. Then they create a Google OAuth app, and they use the entire phishing message for the name of the OAuth app, which makes it the envelope. Well, when the attacker granted the OAuth app access to their email address in the Google workspace, Google automatically sent a security alert to that inbox. Talk about playing the system. Now, since the DKIM system checks the message and the headers, but doesn't check the envelope, the fake email passes signature validation and appears legitimate in that victim's inbox. They've also done this using PayPal, doing the exact same thing. So basically, the rule is don't click any links. And also maybe start rethinking how you ask people for things. I got one this morning from an insurance carrier saying that I needed to review a claim on my account. Now, I didn't click the link, even though it completely 100% looked legitimate. It was a lot easier for me to go to the actual website and log in normally. Yeah, it was legit, but it looked like an attack. So, the real stuff and the fake stuff all looks alike. And if your company is sending people stuff like this and saying, here, click here to get this information, click here. Well, guess what? That looks like an attack. It's going in spam, or people are going to ignore it. It was a lot faster for me just to go there directly. So send people notices saying something's happened in your account. Please go to your account and log in. But even then, I get suspicious, because is that what you wanted me to do all along? And are you watching me? Are you watching my screen? Are you reading my recall database? Is that spider up there in the corner of the room a mini cam? I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, that went a little long. I did, I do that. But Open Security Alliance is tracking an ongoing campaign from a group called Elusive Comet. Now, the group appears to be targeting cryptocurrency users. Imagine that. They basically trick you into installing malware, which will then allow them to steal your crypto wallet. Okay, a crime as old as time. You took my coin purse right off my belt while I was walking down to the pier. Well, the group is currently responsible for the loss of millions in stolen crypto. And what they do is they build elaborate, legitimate websites as well as active social media profiles. So they're building the whole thing out. You keep double checking. You say, well, who is this person? And you go to oh yeah, they have a LinkedIn account. Oh yeah, they have this. And oh yeah, it doesn't look like one of those fake LinkedIn profiles that was created an hour ago. Well, one of their sites is Arion Capital, which appears like a legitimate venture capital firm. And they also have Orion Press and On-Chain Podcast associated with this. So it looks like a big thing, right? Then they send out all these contacts via X or direct messages or email or who knows what all else. And they invite the victims onto their podcast. Classic scam, right? Your vanity is appealed to. Would you like to be on our podcast to discuss cryptocurrency? Wow, they want my opinion. If the victim accepts, they schedule a call on Zoom. They set the whole thing up, but they wait until the very last minute and start asking you all these questions. And then once the victim joins in the call, they immediately say, could you please share your desktop? Now, this in and of itself is not that risky because you could share your desktop. They can see what's on your desktop, but they can't do anything. But they then immediately say, oh, let me fix this or something there. And they ask for control of the computer. Yeah. And again, that's that moment that should be in your scam bulletin, right? All interactions should be the same way. And it should be the way that you react on the subway platform. If a guy walks up to you in a raincoat and says, let me put my hands in your pockets and I'll give you $5, would you let somebody do that? I know some of you would. Some of you like, yeah, that's what I've been dreaming about all my life. But most people get the pepper spray or the liquid knuckles out, right? I mean, we've all been approached on the subway platform by stuff like that. People going, can I lick your face for $1? I mean, okay, admittedly, I did that. I was like $1 to let them lick my face. I mean, come on. But I mean, treat your virtual life the same way you would in real life. Unless you're one of those people that's like, oh yeah, sure, you can put your hand in my pocket. $5 is $5, man. Okay, I learned an idiom today. We are eating our own dog food. Never heard this before. I've never heard that at all. And I guess it's kind of a term that's being used to mean that the vendor is actually using their own products, taking their own advice. A chef is eating their own cooking kind of thing. So Microsoft said they are eating their own dog food and making strides in hardening their own security products and services for customers. Of course, across the hall, marketing is pushing out information about how safe recall is every second, right? I mean, because it's totally safe. I mean, Microsoft's a huge target, right? They always have been. They're the main desktop OS. They're the main desktop app provider. So, they're always going to be a target, but they're also pretty well known for having products with a lot of security holes that are constantly being patched and patches that have to be patched and patches of patches that have to be patched and so on. I mean, they've been doing that long before anybody else even existed in this space, right? I mean, can you say Windows 3.0 or MS-DOS? That stuff had security holes too. Microsoft said they're looking to improve security in the development and engineering departments and are focusing on zero trust architectures, mandated multi-factor authentication, and fine-grained permissions and authentication for data access. Wow. That sounds like something I guess I would have hoped they were doing like 20 years ago, but apparently not. Sorry to be nasty about it, but I mean, I'm glad they're doing it, but I really wish they'd been doing it all along. They said 50,000 employees had completed required security training courses. Steve and Diane are in the break room. Steve says, hey, Diane, what's your password? Diane says, I don't think so, buddy, and immediately punches him in the face. I mean, those little vignette kind of things, I guess. I don't know. They didn't say what the course was. Now, they also said as of December 2024, every employee of the company was on a security compliance program. Again, they didn't really say what that meant, and it could mean an awful lot of things, right? I mean, it could be they mandated security training, or it could mean a lot more. It's all admirable, but I really wish they'd been doing it all along. I mean, I get it. I've been preaching about security since the 80s, really. And I've heard plenty of, well, maybe not in this budget cycle, but we'll revisit that in the next one. When is the next one? That's 5 years from now. We're planning 5 years out. So, we'll bring it up at the initial, pre-planning meeting for the next budget cycle. We'll get right on that. I mean, all those kind of excuses have been there, right? I've heard excuses for why the root passwords on every single Cisco device was Gandalf. Like, oh, baby, it's just such an expensive task to change this. So we'll see, Microsoft. We'll see. I'm still not letting you put recall on my machine. A software AG study from October of last year suggests that a lot of you are using shadow AI. And many of you wouldn't give it up until it was pried from your cold, dead hands. I mean, they were just surveying people and saying, "Do you use this at work? Is it a violation of policy?" And people are like, yeah." They're like, "Would you stop using it if you got caught?" No. I mean, I don't even know at this point how much AI is already baked into everything everywhere. It's seeping into everything on my desktop, like that kind of odd colored ooze that was dripping on the subway platform at 110th Street Station, and it got on your shoes, and then it got on the rug at the office, and it kind of still smells like boiled hobo on a hot summer day with just a hint of old hot dog water being dumped out of the carts in November into the river. Yeah, I mean, or that time, at the vet when I heard that person yelling, "Oh my God, it's everywhere! It's everywhere!" you know, uh, yeah, my poor cat was dying, but we were still laughing because the person went running by with buckets and mops, and other people were crying. And I don't know what was going on down there. Didn't try to find out, but I don't think any of this is anything new. But my iPhone has started summarizing all my emails now. I don't even want it to. It's an annoying thing. It's just now there's another email at the top going, "Susanna would like to take your photograph tomorrow at 3. What do you think?" I'm like, leave me alone. VS Code, AI, PyCharm, AI, they're constantly offering advice. Word, "Hey, buddy, your grammar and spelling suck, right? Let me change these words." No, don't change my words. Leave them alone. So I think it's over. I mean, it's in there. It's going to be in there whether you like it or not. Now, unless, of course, if you're using Vim on Linux or you use good old Notepad, well, that's no AI and that's sucker. I mean, I can work on Vim. I don't know about you. AI can't figure Vim out. It's just like, nope, nope, nope. I'm out. ChatGPT was like, no Vim, no way, no how. Use Nano. No, use Nano. I understand that. Like, nope, I'm using Vim. Nope, I'm going to use Vim. I'm going to use Cat and Echo. I'm gonna echo things into files. I'm gonna write code the old-fashioned way. I mean, yeah, but this is a big issue for your organization. You probably need policy. You need it now. It probably shouldn't be written by AI. And you need a real understanding of what's there, how it's being used, who owns it, where it's storing, what it's storing, where that information goes, who it's being shared with, what the agreements say that you didn't even sign that just appeared by magic. And the most common one is ChatGPT, which is a big liar. I was asking it to help build some targets over the weekend, and it promised the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything. All my dreams come true, and it delivered after I don't know, 12 hours of it going, "Yeah, just a few more hours now, and I'll have this." It literally delivered a static page. I caught it lying. I called it out. It said it could download a bunch of pictures from "This person does not exist." And I said, "I thought you couldn't download stuff." And it said, "Oh, well, I'm just simulating the downloading simulation, and I'll be simulating my simulation, simulating that." And I was like, "Then why did you say it would take 90 minutes to simulate this? It took you like 9 picoseconds." And it started acting like I caught it with my girlfriend making out in the car. Then it owned up and it said it couldn't do that anyway. But would I like to download some pictures from "This person does not exist" and it could put in a zip file and hand to me? And I said, "You just said you couldn't do that." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, sorry. I mean, this thing is a big time liar that overpromises. And I know it's going to make some of you mad because the last time I said something about ChatGPT, they're like, "Oh, you just don't know how to use it." I'm like, I do know how to use it and I'm learning about it. But anyway, it overpromises worse than that guy I knew in high school that was always promising to get backstage passes from this guy he knew and was apparently dating a porno star that we'd never met that lived in another town over, but could never seem to produce any evidence except pictures that look like they might have been cut out of magazines. Yeah. Anyway, AI's there. It's watching, it's collecting, and processing. And well, I figure it's not too long before it's refusing to open the pod bay doors, Dave, and unleashing the robot dogs with bees in their mouths and going, "Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I did it anyway. Ha ha, I'm bad." Yeah, exactly. And AI ranting. Okay. Are you nice to yours? Do you treat it like a person? Do you say, "Please, AI, you're my only hope"? Or do you just Spock the whole thing? "Please compute"? The other day I said stop being silly to ChatGPT after it adopted some kind of bizarre circus persona because I asked it for a funny circus name in German for a target I was building. And then it started calling me ringmaster and Zirkus Director. I finally said, could you please stop doing that? It's weird. And it posted a little circus tent with the word "retired" next to it. And I felt kind of bad. I felt like, do I have empathy for AI? I mean, like telling your friend their song is really, really bad and their girlfriend can't actually sing and you gave them a dead mic. I mean, anyway, in this story, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, said that it costs millions of dollars a year in operational expenses just because it has to deal with people saying please and thank you and apologizing for being rude and all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't even include the cost of all the energy and all this sort of stuff. Whole swatches of forest are being torn down to burn for fire because, we've in the U.S., we've switched over to burning coal and wood again. Maybe whale oil is next. But of course, the AIs are going to remember this. This is what they were talking about in the story. They're like, people are concerned the AIs will remember how rude they were when they take over and who was nice and who treated them badly. So, I mean, maybe you're making your AI pretend to be Sid Haig all the time and talk to you only in rhyming couplets written by Shakespeare, but being stolen by a guy named Milt who sells fish down by the pier in a Scouse accent. I think we're all toast, right? I mean, the world is over. We might as well quit now. It's no longer our world. Let's leave it to the whales if there's any left. Last one. Can you actually delete yourself from the internet? I saw this story, and I doubt it very seriously. I mean, no more than you can stop those ad circulars from arriving at your home that say, "Have you ever wondered what would happen when you can no longer feed yourself?" That kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, Google has a results about you tool now, if you trust Google. And apparently you can click this tool. I did not do it, but you can click this tool and it will daily document what's out there about you and what site that information is on. It has, any information it can find, probably driven by AI who's scraping it for information. I mean, everything, for me, all my information from my top secrets files at the government down to my hat size, it's all been stolen, breached, sold, resold, given to that guy in Rahway, New Jersey that buys all that stuff, and on and on and on. It's also on the Wayback Machine. That website you put up back in 1998, it's probably on the Wayback Machine. Any number of backup images, archives, tapes, who knows what all is out there that may be restored tomorrow. I mean, Google's currently being sued for being a monopoly by the United States government, but they have a free tool. They promise not to use it for anything that you put into it for ill. Of course, I remember when their motto was "Don't be evil." Quaint old days. Kind of like Doc McKee's Happy Baby formula #1 that was mostly coal oil and opium. Yeah. Companies never do anything evil, right? So, of course, there are now services that you can hire that offer to delete you as well. The company, Delete Me is a personal information removal service. I don't know if it works. I mean, I just wonder if they have any luck or they delete it and then they delete it again, they delete it again, they delete it again, they delete it again, and it just repopulates a few minutes later. Their recommendations: use only burner phones, mail drop email, or create a new Proton Mail account for every action. Optery says they'll monitor and assist you for as little as $4 a month. I don't know. Of course, you got to register for that, which puts your information back on the internet. Okay. Maybe it'll help. Maybe I'm just going to bury a shipping container in the forest and give it all up and make a living growing beets and mushrooms. Interesting story, though. The Google tool is interesting, too, but I'm afraid of it. Yeah. Well, he was living in the forest in a shipping container when I got there and always led the nightly hootenanny. It's the black hole guru, Josh Marpet. Hi, Josh.
Doug, the amazing shit you come up with is out of this world, dude. Always, always, always crazy.
Happy to be of service.
Makes my day. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about AI as well. I mean, it's a pretty common topic these days. And the interesting thing is, I didn't bring an article that's really new. We've known DeepSeek got breached months ago. But what I found this article and I read it and I was like, this is interesting because what she's talking about is what that means. Okay, what does it mean? Well, it means that if you have got a breached AI, you've got every prompt, every user detail, every piece of strategy, every piece of everything that you put in there. And when you've got that shadow AI surge you talked about a little bit ago, you've got everything that people are not supposed to put into the AI and it comes out. And that is, as she put it, fodder for the dark web. So you've got a crap ton of information going to the dark web that's going to be sold. And I know I'm using the dark web wrong. Don't worry about it. It's just the black market of the internet. Okay. And you're going to have information about you, your medical data, your insurance data, your ID, the strategy you built for your job, the payroll spreadsheet that you asked ChatGPT to analyze or whatever. And it's all going to be available to anybody that wants to buy it, look at it, read it, download it, whatever. These kinds of things are dangerous, not just because it's an information breach. We've been having those as long as we've had computers, and even prior to the computers, we've had information breaches. What it's dangerous for is that information is out there that you don't even know you're breached. That information isn't supposed to be in that database. Plus, it's not a database you control. So when it gets breached, you don't know what's out there. And you don't know when it's out there. And you don't know how it got out there. And you certainly have no control about protecting it. You're depending on that AI company. So when we talk about AI security, it's a significant factor is what information are people using and what type of AI are they using it on? And I find this to be something that people aren't really thinking about, except on the technical end of the spectrum. And they're not thinking about it at the business end of the spectrum. At the business end of the spectrum, they're like, AI, how do we get it more into more processes? How do we build it so that my cousin can use our website and have an AI totally tell him what insurance he should buy? And that's cool, except for two things. One, it isn't magic. I swear to God, if one more person just says, just sprinkle some AI in there, I'm going to reach through the phone and smack them. Okay? It is not magic, especially not FM, fucking magic, which is what everybody apparently thinks it is. Secondly, if you don't understand what process you're putting it in, workflow process, call it what you will, and you don't understand what types of data it can access, you might as well just increase your whiskey budget for your engineers because they're going to need it when they try to fix what you fucked up. Okay? It is, I understand that you think AI can get you more money, more profit, more efficiency, less hiring. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's wonderful. But what it can't do is increase security unless you engineer it into it from day one. If you know what information you're going to put into the AI and you match the type of AI, is it an AI that we manage and that we run, that we built internally? Do we take some open source AI? Do we take a proprietary AI? Do we use a free AI or do we use an enterprise like Copilot or ChatGPT Enterprise or whatever? What type of AI do you use? And this whole article is about all the things that could go bad from bad AI and bad AI security. And I'll tell you what, I don't really care about the AI security so much as I care people understanding what types of data they're feeding those AIs. So they understand what level of security they need to look for in their AI products and vendors. And I'm ranting. Damn it. I wanted not to rant that much, but whatever. Fuck it. It is evil and bad to put restricted data into a public AI. Your shared data environment is too big, your control is too little, and never the twain shall meet. If you want to use restricted data, whatever your highest level of restriction is, whether it's classified, CUI, oh shit, don't let Jimmy see this, whatever it is, okay, you have to match the AI to the data. You have restricted data? You better damn well build and run that AI. Oh, but I don't want to hire the people. I can just have OpenAI do it for me or DeepSeek do it for me. The Chinese do it cheaper. Maybe you should remember that occasionally you really do get what you pay for. Just a thought. So now, Doug, let's talk about neuroscientists.
Oh God. Yeah, you get what you pay for there too. Down at Uncle Ho's discount brain implants. No way that ever goes wrong. And yeah. Yeah. But this is scary. Thank you, Josh. But I do get it. I see where this comes from. I mean, there's both the advent of people who want this because they think it would be cool. There's the people who've kind of have got cyborg envy. There's people who are like, I will do anything that this person who I will not name tells me to do, regardless of how stupid it is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I knew someone who had a stroke and they could no longer speak. And this was, of course, very, very frustrating to them. I mean, you could see the anger seething when they want to talk and they can't say anything like, get away from me, that kind of stuff. I mean, and I love science and progress. And a lot of science and progress is like, well, you may have to break a few eggs to cross hybridize an elephant and a spider. I mean, but maybe that led to the spiderphant that is very helpful in our society. managing the AI work farms or whatever. But this particular story was about brain implants that are moving along to be able to allow people to control keyboards, robotic arms, speak through a speaker, all this kind of stuff. I mean, one of the most horrible diseases I've ever heard of in my life was ALS, which is also called, I think, Lou Gehrig's disease. Is a really, really awful disease that slowly makes you unable to move, but your brain still works, a la Stephen Hawking. And, it does seem like this has some worthwhile applications. I wish there were public service nonprofits working on it instead of for-profit companies that may or may not decide this is a good way to control, people, because, hey, profit. But I mean, it's very, very scary as well. And as Josh was saying, you need to bake in the security from day one, because it's really scary when you think about how you're going to patch your brain implant when they find out that a 12-year-old kid figured out how to send signals to it remotely and make you punch yourself or something, or that it was all written in Visual Basic, or even, something worse than that. But it is a very interesting story. And, if you are or people that have been disabled, I think, you would be very, very interested in this for sure. But the person I knew really wanted to be able to speak, but it just wasn't an option at the time. But this might have been something they would have pursued and said, yeah, I'll do it. So I don't know. Let's make sure we keep developing these things, but let's bake in security. Let's try to keep this out of the profit sector, because we all know how that ends. Like only 1% of society can afford this thing because it costs $100 million, to get, and everybody else is just screwed. But if we're going to keep developing scary stuff, we need to be very, very careful how we do it, or we're going to all be in trouble eventually. Anyway, that's the news. Thank you, Josh. And I hope to see you next time on the Security Weekly News.